Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptid, where we've got something really unusual for you today. Obviously, this is some sort of fog puzzle. It's called Foggy Fillomino, though. It's by Die Hard. And we've had a couple of recommendations to look at this. And the reason I like the idea of it is that it's a pencil puzzle. We're continuing our series on Saturdays of having the occasional non-sudoku puzzle, while combining that with something that everybody likes, or almost everybody anyway, which is fog of war, the fog of war mechanic. So if we get this digit, we'll reveal something in the grid. I don't know if this is dynamic fog, or whether it's normal fog. So we might reveal those squares, or we might reveal that square. We don't know. But anyway, I'm looking forward to trying this. I think it's a fantastic idea to bring Fog of War out of the Sudoku realm and into other realms. So well done to Die Hard for having the idea, and we'll see how we get on with this in a moment or two's time. I'm afraid I have no idea how hard it is. I did look it up on Logic Masters Germany, and it was unrated, which could mean a variety of things, some of which are terrifying. Anyway, before I read you the rules, I do want to recommend that you have a look at yesterday's puzzle by Marty Sears. It's an amazing 8x8 Sudoku, and just fascinating. A fascinating puzzle, and I felt I solved it in the most bizarre manner. And most of the comments, I think, have forgiven me and actually found it quite amusing to watch. But it's really something. You must have a go at the puzzle, even if you don't watch the video. So do have a look. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. What else can I tell you about? Well, a lot of you already know this, but if you're a patron of the channel over on Patreon, then we have released this Sudoku hunt themed on The Hobbit by Blobz at the start of January. And in the meantime, let me show you the current ranking. The first is 19 puzzles in all, obviously making your way through the story of The Hobbit. It's nearly 1,700 solves of the first puzzle, and over 100 solves of the final puzzle now. It is absolutely phenomenal. Very well done to everybody who's made it through all 19. That's a cracking effort. Let's see if we can work out which the most. So it looks like there's a slight drop off, isn't there? It's quite a slow decline towards the end, because I guess if you're one of 700 who's got through the first 4, you're probably going to keep trying to make progress. It looks like actually puzzle 3 is proving tricky. Anyway, do keep going. Do try and get through it. You've got until the 20th of January to enter the competition. And the prize, if you'd like to do it, will be to try and make a Sudoku video with me that will feature on the channel, hopefully at some point. Now, I've got some birthdays to do today as well. I'm not late with any of these, so I take some pleasure in that. Emma, you've turned the big 3-0 today. And I know this because your husband Mike wrote to us. Actually, Mike wrote a very, very kind email. Thank you for that, Mike. I think Mike's been watching since early 2021, so sort of start of the pandemic type timing. And I think, Emma, you've come to us more recently. I managed to win you over with my explanation of the Fistemafell ring. Oh, how big is this grid? It's not going to mean anything. That is okay. It is a 9x9 grid, so in theory, those of you unfamiliar with the Fistemafell ring, it's something that proves that those in a normal Sudoku, those cells are the exact same cells as these cells, but this isn't a Sudoku, so it doesn't really mean anything in this grid. But anyway, that allowed me to achieve one of my lifetime ambitions, which was to appear on Numberphile, the fantastic sort of maths-based YouTube channel with Brady Harron. Anyway, that's by the by. Emma, it's your birthday. I know the two of you have, I think, 2 sons, is it? 4 and 1? And apparently the channel has got you through some sleepless nights. And, well, for that, I'm relieved. And Emma, I hope you have a great birthday today with, of course, a large slice of chocolate cake. next, over in Louisville, Kentucky, it is Maddie's birthday. Maddie, you've turned 22, and I know this because your friend Parker wrote in and also said I should make sure to say a happy birthday to you from your mutual friend Bear. So Maddie, I hope you have a great birthday, somewhere I'd love to visit, Louisville, yeah, I hope you also get some chocolate cake. And then the final birthday is Sam. Sam, you've turned 31 today. I know this because your wife Tracy also wrote us a lovely email, and Tracy described you, Sam, as her best friend in everything, even Sudoku watching and solving. And I think Tracy, you started watching when you were ill last year. I do hope you're on the mend now, and you've enjoyed the process of trying the puzzles and getting better at them. And you've just set your first puzzle, so well done on that. That is quite a milestone. But Sam, happy 31st birthday. I hope you have an absolutely great one today. And that is all the news. Let's have a look at Foggy Fillomino by Die Hard, and see what the rules of this puzzle are. Okay. Okay, it says, I should have checked this actually before I turned on the webcam. It says normal Fillomino rules apply, and then it doesn't explain what Fillomino rules are. So I will do this off the cuff. No, it doesn't. Okay, so what are normal Fillomino rules? Well, normal Fillomino rules require us to divide this grid into regions of orthogonally connected cells. So that might be a region. Now, if this was a region, we would enter into each of these cells the digit 6, because this is a size 6 region. So we would do that. I won't put 6 in case any of these happen to be a 6 and it clears fog. Now, if we do that, let's say this was a size 3 region. Let's give that a different colour. And this region might be, what's that, size 7? Is that 7? No, 8. Okay, gosh, I can't count. 8. That would be a size 8 region. And let's say we were building this region, and we worked out it was this many cells, but we weren't sure whether it could grow more. Now, what we would know is that this couldn't be a size 6 region, because you can't connect two size 6 regions together orthogonally. That is against the rules of Fillomino. So you could do that. That would be absolutely fine, because this region and this region only touch at a point, but they cannot orthogonally touch if they're the same size in Fillomino, and we just divide the grid. So it's actually a very simple rule. Fillomino rules are really, I really like them because it's a very simple rule set. Yeah, that's how it works. That's what we've got to do. However, there are other rules. It says use only the digits 1 to 9, and the digit n cannot appear in row n or column n. So what does that mean? Well, let's explain. In classic Fillomino, you could have massive regions. So that would be a size 15 region. You put 15 into each of the cells. What it's saying here is no, all the regions are size 1 to 9. And that square, for example, couldn't be a 1, because that is in row 1 of the grid. And I'm not allowed to put any 1s in row 1 or column 1. And I'm not allowed to put any 2s in column 2 or row 2, any 3s in column 3 or row 3, etc., all the way through to 9s in these cells. Digits on the marked diagonals cannot repeat and must sum to the total if given. Okay. So those 4 cells have no repeats in them and sum to 28. They sum to 27. They sum to 22. So the question marks, presumably they are that's saying that all those digits have to be different along that diagonal. That must be the reason for that, for the unnumbered but labelled diagonal. The grid is covered by fog. Correctly placing digits may clear fog somewhere in the grid. Okay, so it might not clear the fog from the cell we're in and its sort of immediate neighbourhood. It might clear the fog somewhere else entirely. do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So these are, okay, so the diagonals are a bit like killer cages in the sense that we can't repeat a digit along them. So 4 cells adding up to 12, there must be a 1 and a 2 on that diagonal. It's either a 1, 2, 3, 6 is one possibility, or 1, 2, 4, 5 is the other way of making 12 without repeating a digit, but there must be a 1 and a 2 on that diagonal. Oh, I see. Okay, and that's going to have Fillomino implications, isn't it? If this were... oh no, hang on. We've got to remember this rule. So I can't put 1 into row 1. I'm not allowed to. I can't put 2 into row 2. Sorry, I immediately forgot that rule. All of these... oh no, that... yeah, that is in column 6, actually. That can't be a 6. Okay, so that can't be a 3. That can't be a 4. Why do I find that hard to... so I take 1, 2, 3 and 4 out of those squares. And 6 out of this one, because that's column 6. And then column 7, column 8, column 9 don't affect anything. But these are all different numbers. And then once... so imagine that was a 6. That would have to be part of a size 6 region. Oh, this is quite a strange rule, actually. We've got a 15 diagonal, so that's going to be from... that's either going to be 6, 9 or 7, 8 here. Now, so this square is 6, 7, 8 or 9 as well, because this square can't be a 1. So we can't fill a 1 size region into this cell here, because it would be in row 1 or column 1, whichever one we would like to rule it out, or use as the basis for ruling it out. So this is growing into either this one or this one. Now 28 has to have an 8 and a 9 in it, I think. Oh yeah, that's going to be restricted as well. Let's check that. If you didn't have... well, if you didn't have a 9, it's very clear it can't work. And that's because 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 is 26. I know that from killer cages. These are the somewhat sad things I like to talk about at parties. But if it doesn't have an 8, then we would be on 9, 7, 6 and 5, wouldn't we? Which is 18 plus 9, which is 27, which is also not 28. So that doesn't work. So it does have 9 and 8, and then it's got 2 digits that add up to 11, which are either 4 and 7 or 5 and 6. That's, well, actually it's probably no more pencil marking than I've just done on the 12 diagonal, is it? So maybe I should do that. 9 and 8, and then 4, 7 or 5, 6. But let's be clear, we can't put 9 in that one. We can't put 8 in that one. We can't put 7 in that one, and we can't put 6 in this one. And we can't put 4. I think it's almost like symmetrical with this, but with a big number rather than a small number. Oh, I'm rubbish at this rule. I'm very aware I'm rubbish at it. I can't really conceptualize what I'm trying to think about at all. I'm being Marty Sears. Oh no. Okay, this one. Okay, so that shouldn't have a 9 in it. That shouldn't have an 8 in it. And I don't know. 27 has to have a 9 in it, which can't be in this square because that... oh, hang on. Ah, okay, so the 9 in this diagonal can't be in column 9 and it can't be in row 9, so there is a 9 in one of those squares. That's a small deduction. But this is, I think this is under much less pressure. You could have a 3 on that diagonal. And I'm not prepared to pencil mark that. That just seems excessive. You can't have 1s and 2s in a 27 sum that's 4 cells or 4 different digits. Because the maximum you could make 3 different numbers add up to is 24 if you made them 7, 8 and 9. 22 in... okay, so this one is better. 22 in 6 is fine, because I can't repeat a digit. This one is forced. There's only one way to make 6 different Sudoku digits add up to 22, and that's if they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Which slightly impinges upon the ability of that one to be 8 or 9. That's 4, 5, or 7 now, and these cells are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh, and then I have to eliminate all the things from them. So that can't be 2. It's column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. But this is also row 5, isn't it? So row 5. Oh, hang on. Row 5, row 4, row 3, row 2. I mean, the problem with this is I'm not actually eliminating anything. I'm not just doing appallingly badly. No. Oh, nearly. Well, it's nearly impossible for this to be 6, 9, I think. Because look, you've got a sort of barrier going up the grid there. This staircase of digits don't include 6s and 9s. So imagine this was a 6-9 pair. We'd need a size 6 region and a size 9 region without going across this junction. But that looks like a triangular number to me, 15. So that works. That's almost certainly what's going on. We're going to have a 6 and a 9 in these two positions in some order. And we're going to fill this space. Although, hang on, let me just think about that. That one is also different from this one by this question mark clue. So if this was 6, 9... what does that mean? It means those two digits would be the same. Oh, that looks like it works quite nicely, actually. So I think this would be 6, and this would be 9. And that's not falling foul of any question mark clues, which is also deeply suspicious and suggests it's correct. Right, okay, so we can't do that. Well, what is it then? How on earth do you make any Oh, I've got more question mark. I've got more question marks without totals. Wait, oh, hang on. I've got a question mark here. But is this me or is this quite hard, actually? I can't see how to start at all. I think have I missed a rule? I'm not allowed to put the digits 1 to 9 in their respective rows and columns. Have I missed an ability to reduce the pencil marks of something? That's very possible. This felt like it was the most constrained part of the grid. I don't see what I've missed. I'm so sorry, I don't know. This one, I think this one's under less pressure than this one is. Is there some... How am I meant to do this? I don't understand. Well, nearly. Very... that is so nearly. There is a bit of a restriction on here. Now... Okay. It is hard to put high digits on here, isn't it? The thing I've just noticed is that 8 is hard to put into this square. In fact, I don't think it can be an 8. I know those two can't be an 8, but I think that one can be an 8. The reason this can't be an 8 is that if you do put an 8 in here, remember I then have to build a region of size 8. But I have to do it without going into column 8. And there's no space for it. It could only... In fact, it couldn't even go to this row, could it? So, okay, is it something to do with... Yeah, oh, I see. No, that's really helpful. Right, look, that is what we have to do. Because what that's just shown me is not only that this can't be 8, but this can't be 8. Because if that's 8, where do I squeeze the 8 region in without hitting any red cell? Those red cells are row 8 and column 8, which we're not allowed to put an 8 into. I could build an 8 like that. That's only size 7. So there is no 8 on that diagonal. And therefore, this diagonal is 5, 6, 7, 9, I think. 5, 6, 7, 9. If you can't put 8 on it, but you can't put 9 in those squares because they, well, this is actually quite good. This one is much better than that one for reasons that are strange, but it is better because now I can't put 6 into that one or that one. That's row 6 and this is column 6. So this is 5 and 7, and these are 6 and 9. I'm just going to check my maths. I got 18 plus 9 is 27. That's right, yeah. 5, 6, 7 add up to 18. So this is the only... Once we can't put 8 on this diagonal, it must be 5, 6, 7, 9. And these have become a 6, 9 pair. Oh, that's nearly impossible. Well, okay, so what I'm imagining, when I did the thing with the 6s, sorry, the 8s, if I do the same thing with the 6s, make that shape, there is a 6 in one of these cells that can't touch. So it's got to be 6 cells large, and it has to live in that little area there. It has to live in box 9 of the Sudoku we can't see. Because we can't overlap. We can't put 6 into any green cell. So that's almost interesting, actually. Because well, actually, let me think about this. So there is a 6 in one of these, and there is a 9 in the other one, but the 9 can't go in any of those squares. But the 9 isn't restricted by green. So the 6... The 6 will take one of these. It could only take one of those because there's a question mark, so we can't have both of these. So those squares contain a maximum of 2 6s, I'm going to claim. I think that's right. And that means that the sort of... What's that shape? The 5 on a dice? The quin is called something. It's like a quincunx or something. I haven't said the wrong thing there. It's called something like that. It is. Hang on, let me find my dictionary. Have I got my dictionary? I have got my dictionary open. Right, it's in the wrong place. Let's move it over. There is a word. It's something like I think it's quincunx. There is a word, quincunx. I told you. Right, an arrangement of 5 things at the corners and centre of a square. Yeah, that it is. Quincunx. There we are. So quincunx. I'm not even going to attempt to say that. Anyway, right. Sorry about going on about quincunxes, but right. So within those squares, there are 2 6s maximum. So within the quincunx, which is that shape, at least 4 of those sort of 5 dots on a dice or something have to be 6s. Now, if they were all 6s, that doesn't. No, they can't all be 6s. Because if those were 6s and say that was a 6, that 6 in the corner isn't orthogonally connected to its friends. Alright, so that's quite useful, because now I've proved, I think, that one of these is a 6 and one of these is a 6, because if that wasn't the case, I'd have to take the quincunx and I'd have to take that one, say, and that's not a 6 area. So one of these is a 6, and 4 of the quincunx cells are 6s. But, okay, but I'm sorry, I'm being slow here. I think we can do better than this. So one of these is 9. Four of these. Which ones have to be? Or does it... If it's that one and that one are 6s. Yeah, you can get sort of sideways H pattern, can't you? Or that. Or possibly other things as well. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so that's sort of a 1 shape. Oh, bobbins, I don't know then. Maybe I can't do anything. So, I think this might have been a massive distraction. Oh, one of these has got to be a 5, and whichever one it is can't go sort of left or up. Imagine this was a 5. It can't go into column 5. So hang on. So let's go back to the quincunx, because what we're saying there is, of those 9 cells, one at least is a 9. 6 are 6s, definitely, so that's 7 cells. And two are something else, but possibly no, not necessarily 9s, because the 9s can't go into those squares ever. I can't. I'm just not quite thinking clearly about this. I know I'm not. I can't quite. No, I can't quite do it. Oh, okay, so let's try that one then. Does that matter that all these have to be different? Don't know. Might do. How do you do this puzzle? I still haven't got 1 digit. Whichever one of these is 7 can't go right or downwards. So if that's 7, can't go there. Ah, so that's 7. Oh, I've done this wrong, haven't I? I've done this wrong. 7 in one of these is more problematic than this 6 down here. Because 7, let's draw the line in for 7s. So let's draw it like that. No, I was going to say that's not symmetrical. That can't be right. Well, okay, right. That one can't be 7. There's no space for it. Right. So we've got a digit, I think, because, yeah, that's, oh no, hang on, can it go in here? I might be wrong. Oh no, it can't, because no, it can't. It just can't. Right, this is where to focus on. This exact cell, what is that exact cell? Now, if it was 7, where would we put the 7? Green, it cannot overlap with green anywhere. So it's only got those cells to live in, because it can't overlap with the 4-cell 12 diagonal. So that square's a 5, I think. And this is going to clear fog. Now, that's the most that's the most underwhelming fog reveal ever. Now, no, I can't. No, I can't. Oh, good. I was about to go and clear 5 from this square, but that's actually almost certainly wrong, isn't it? Because actually, it's not Sudoku. I've got to build a region of size 5, and that could well run into this. So it's more, in fact, it's the opposite of Sudoku. If you put a digit into a row or column, and there's a pencil mark near it, it's very likely it's going to run into that cell. So I can't take 5 out of this square. Okay, but that's a 7 now by the same logic, so I can't repeat a digit on this. That's not cleared any fog, but this is better down here because this can run into these squares. It can only run into one of those squares, though. Which is almost interesting, but not quite. So it is going to run. It is going to run through one of these squares because in terms of the amount of room for this 7, it's got 5 cells of space. No, it hasn't. It's got 4 cells of space because it can only take one of those 2. This is tricky. I think I might have to. I'm now wondering whether I'm meant to sort of have a way of keeping track of the, those digits all have to be different. These digits all have to be different. Oh bother! I don't know. I don't know how to do this. This is what's going to get revealed under the fog? Because I was thinking about this when I hit the 5. It's not like I'm going to find an arrow or something because there's no arrows in the instructions. I suppose what we might find is region boundaries. Yeah, okay, so we might find region boundaries revealed by the fog, and that would be helpful. So one of these only can be a 7 because of this clue. So, I don't know. Botheration. How do you do this puzzle? I don't know what to do. If we... I haven't got a... Oh, Simon, do get a grip, man. What on earth are we meant to do here? So one of these is a 9, and that's going to be ruled out of all of these squares. How does that help us? Or do we have to revisit our quincunx in order to understand what was going on with that? Is it more difficult now? Maybe, okay, maybe I have to do that. I'm just going to go back and have a look at my my 6 thingies. So the 6 thingies are bounded like that. So the 6 in one of these squares lives in here. We know only one of these is a 6. And then 4 of the yellows. And we worked out it was exactly 4, didn't we? So if it wasn't the middle one, that doesn't work. Oh no, it doesn't work. No, it's slightly hard to see, but it doesn't work. That one, I think, is a 6. Because if it wasn't, then we know those would all be 6s, definitely. One of these, let's pick this one, it's symmetrical, so I don't think it matters. So I've now got 5 of my 6, but I have to join this up to both of these with only one more 6. I can't do it. So it just is impossible, and it would be the same here, wouldn't it? So that's always a 6. Sorry, that's probably been available. Whoa. Ah, okay. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to get actual digits under the fog, right? So how does that help? That doesn't do anything. 4, so that can't go there, and it can't go there. But I had no reason to think it was going to go in any of those squares. Wow. I mean, that's bizarre, isn't it? That's truly bizarre. That's really strange. Okay. So, what about if... I know there's a 9 that's somewhere down here, don't I? And that's got to come... Okay, I'm going to go back to thinking about 9. So let's draw in 9. So those can't be 9. So one of these is a 9. And it's going to get out either that way, or possibly through this one. Although that's going to mean the quincunx is going to have to be those... one of these. That works. That's absolutely fine. If that was a 1, that could work. It would be very useful. If that was 9 and went there, that would push the 7 along. I don't know. This is really strange. Okay. This can't be 8, can it? Oh. Ah, okay. That can't be 8 for the same reason I was looking at this earlier. Was it to try and make that one an 8? That can't be an 8. Because it would definitely sort of bleed out, wouldn't it, into row 8 of the grid. There's no space for it, so that can't be an 8. So so now this is useful. So now the 8 on this diagonal, and there is one because it's a 28 clue, is placed. Oh, this is great. Oh, thank goodness for this. Right, that's an 8. Yes. And that means that's a 9. Yes. Oh, no, I can't do Sudoku. Don't do Sudoku. That would be a very grave error. Ah, right. Okay, I've got something. So now what we can do is return to this 7, I think. Because I thought that 7 could go through there, but now it can't. Might be wrong, but let's fill in the 7 barrier. Where does this 7 get its 7 from? Well, it could take those squares. It can't overlap green ever, so those 2 are definitely 7. No, that's wrong. That one's 7 as well, because these 2 can't both be 7, can they? Only one of those can be 7. So 1, 2, 3. Say it was those 4, couldn't be this one then. 5, 6, so it's still got to grow another one. Oh, that's good. Is that good or bad? Is that 7? Ah, oh lovely. Right. What's that digit? And the answer is 7, because it cannot be 1, which is the only size region I could put into a 1-cell region if it wasn't a 7. And if it was a 1, it would be in column 1, and that's against the rules, so that's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this has to grow and touch this. So that's got the only way that can happen. That is a 7, and that is a region we've just discovered. Right, so let's get rid of all this green and instead make this green, because that is our first region. And what's more, I am very happy to delineate it. You know me. Now, what does that mean? Well, what we should do is draw in that boundary, because this 8 can't come down into row 8, can it? Is that useful? I don't believe it. Oh, I know what we could do. We could do mathematics. I've got 24, so that's a 4. Here we go. So, and that can't repeat on the 22 diagonal. This is a fascinating puzzle. It is very odd as well, I will say that. Yeah, look at this. This is it. Right, I'm not even going to say I'm getting the hang of it now, but at least I've had a reasonably intelligent thought for once straight away. Where does that 4 go? It can't bounce into here. It can't overlap with orange ever. So even if it took both of those, it's still got to take that one. So that's a 4. That's a 4 now. What has that... Oh, I know one thing that's done. It can't go there. It can't go there. It can't go there. Right, so this cell is now... That can't be a 1 for the same reason this couldn't be a 1. It would be in column 1. So this either joins to the 4 or to the 8. That is a 4 or an 8. And the 8 is... the 8 has now... Right, let's get rid of orange, sorry. The 8 has now been fenced in. How does this 8 get to be size 8? It's got to go there. It's got to go there. So the 9 has to come out a bit. But we've got to be careful, because the 9 could bump into one of these. Have we got any diagonals we can make use of now? And this 4. Oh, this 4 is not... Okay, this 4 is not going into row 4 or column 4. So again, we can boundary define it. It's doing something like that. That's a boundary. This is a boundary. This one could be a 1, because it's not in column 1. It's in column 2. So... so what do we do now? I've still got to make sure this reaches size... Oh, goodness me. Oh, yeah, well, this is where I want to look now. I haven't thought about this, but let's look at this cell. Yeah, this is a great cell. Why didn't I look at this? Right, it's because I don't understand the puzzle, basically. But look, remember what we said about the quincunx? I know you all remember about it. But this square, it can't go up into row 5. And it can't take more than 1 yellow, because we know 4 of these yellows belong to the 6. It might be able to take that one, actually. So maybe it could do 2. It could come down and take 2 cells from here. But it can't take more than that, so it must take that one. And it can't take that one, so it must take that one. And all of that has done nothing for us. It hasn't... Well, we can delineate that one. Oh dear. That really didn't work. Oh, hang on. Ah. Ah. Yes, lovely. Okay, now look at that massive diagonal from here. This digit is not the same as this digit, because they all have to be different along the diagonal. So this can't come down 2 cells into there. It could only take 1 cell, so it must go there. I mean, it's right because it's cleared the fog, but it's not. It's not quite doing it, is it? Does this 8 have to go through this gap now? I'm not sure that's right, because I think the 9 might be able to come and occupy. Well, it can't occupy that much of the quincunx, but I think it can occupy some of it. Oh, how do we do this then? I'm not sure. We've got this diagonal to worry about as well. Let's give the 5s a colour. Now, those two are different colours, as is that one. So they are 3 different numbers. One of which has got to be a 9, because this 9 that's down here has to bleed out, doesn't it? I think it probably has to touch this 9, so it's probably this one. And that would be a 6. Golly gosh, how do we do this? Okay, the 5 definitely can't go into row 5. Where can this 8 go? Let's think about that. Does that 8 have to go there, for example? It could have this one, couldn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's just nonsense. That's such nonsense. You can't pen the 9 in like that, because let's sort of try and work this out. How much? They've got a 9 here. I mean, if the 9 went there, that would be a brilliant deduction. Yeah, I think what we've probably got to think about is how much of the quincunx shape can the 9 have? So maybe the 9 could go here. Oh no, that's row 9. No, it can't. Yeah, okay. So the 9 can take, obviously it takes one of these squares, and it could take 1 cell of the quincunx, because the 6 is taking 4. So it could have 2 cells from this region. That's maximum. So the 9 takes 2 from here. And if it does take this one, for example, it can't take that one as well, because it would have appeared on this diagonal already. So the 9 can take one of these and one of these. That's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, have I met? Hang on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is space for it. 7, 8, 9. It must do that. There's no other way to do it, and leave room for the 8 to take any cells at all. This is huge. This is a hugely important point, because I'm just going to double check the logic. I'm saying there's definitely a 9 in one of those. That's clearly true. I'm saying there's no more than 1 9 in those two. That's definitely true because of this question mark clue. So that's 2 9s maximum in that region. I can't take any more 9s. I don't think I can take any more. Actually, maybe that's the point that I've missed. What about if I take that one, and that one? Is that possible? No. No, it's not, because now my 6, I don't think my 6 can work. This is, it's very awkward, this. But the reason I think this doesn't work is that my 6 now has to take these squares for definite. And then it couldn't take this one because of the long diagonal here. Oh, so it takes that one, and that's a 1. Okay, so maybe that's possible then. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, maybe that is possible. But it's still important, because I still don't see how I don't make this a 9. To not make this a 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, say, I've still got to take two more cells in here. And I feel that's impossible, although now everyone's going to say, well, why can't it be those two? And the reason it can't be those two is 4, 5, I don't know now. No, I mean, it can't be, actually. Because then these 6 would be in, and this diagonal would be broken. Yeah, only one of these can be a 6. And only one of these can be a 6. That's true. And 4 of... Yeah, and the 6 needs to take... The 6 is going to take one of these and one of these. But the 6 can't take those two simultaneously. So it could take that one. Yeah, I mean, so it doesn't work. That specific thing doesn't work. 9. But I know if I miss an option, that's all the comments will say is, oh, Simon, you didn't evaluate this option. So I'm trying to prove, I think, that this has to be a 9. There is only one way I can see. 4, 5, 6, and 3 more without taking 2 yellows. So it has to be, given only one of these, it has to be that, and that's ruled out because these can't be the same. It's really complicated, but that is a 9, and it is. So this 8 gets pushed up. Probably more, actually. Let's see if we can actually do much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's still got to keep going. Still got to keep going quite a lot, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But its next one could be there or there, possibly. Or maybe there's a diagonal clue that I can make use of. No, I'm going to use this 4 clue. Because this 4 clue is my pencil marks are saying it can go there or along here, but it can't go into these squares. It can't go into row 4 or column 4. So it's definitely got to take those 2 squares. Oh, it's good, but it's not doing me any favours, is it? This 5 has to take something in this region. That's not finished yet, is it? I was thinking that could go into the quincunx at one point, but I'm no longer sure it can. So this 4 is doing that. Okay, how could the 5 go there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, maybe it could, actually. Maybe it could. I'm certainly not prepared to rule that out. Oh no, it couldn't, because I'll tell you what, I think I'm doing this wrong. I think probably I've got to mark the diagonals. I did think of doing this before, but then I didn't, and that was probably an error, because if you draw them all in, you probably get a better idea for exactly how many digits you can have on each each of the various diagonals. Has that helped? It's making it very explicit. You can only have one of those. That's what I'm seeing straight away. And okay. Bobbins. I don't know what to do now again. Stuck again. Let's think. How long have I had? 55 minutes. Is that a terrible time? Probably it is. It probably is terrible, actually. I definitely feel that this puzzle has got the better of me. I'm still in the game. I'm not out of the game yet, but I don't feel I'm covering myself in glory by doing this. And I'm all too acutely aware that it's very possible to make a logical error, and I'm very keen not to do that, let me tell you. Maybe, what about if this one is a 6 and that's a 9 then, and the 9 has to get out, so the 9 would do that. If this is a 6, the quincunx is those cells and they must all be taken together with one of these. So the other one would be a 1. Oh, maybe that's what you have to have down here then. If that's a 6 and that's a 9 on the other hand, it's more complicated. So you could take those two. You can't take this one now. You have to take that one. 3 more cells of the quincunx is where you have to end up with there. So you could take, perhaps, I'm not saying this is definitely true, but perhaps you could take those to create the 6 region, and perhaps this could be a 2 region here. Going down into the corner, there might be some weird reason I can't do that, but then this 9 would go here. There's nothing to prevent it doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, that would work, maybe. Although, no, it wouldn't work, but for a complicated reason, which is that the 5 now has to dip into... The 5's got nowhere to grow to on that hypothesis, because I took all its cells away from it. Okay, so maybe I've got to expand my horizons. I've got obsessed with my quincunx, and maybe I'm meant to think about that 4x4 instead. I quite like that thought. Yeah, let's do it. Let's look at the 4x4 instead and see if that yields any additional points. So, what do we know is in this 4x4? Well, we know it's got 6, so it's 16 cells to fill, isn't it? We know it's got 5s in it, definitely, 5 5s. It's got 6 6s in it, definitely, and it's got a 7 in it, definitely. So that's 12 of its cells. It's got at least, it's got a 9 it's got a 9 in it, obviously, perhaps more than one 9. Well, in fact, we know how many 9s it must have, because even if we fill up all of those squares with 9s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it must have 3 9 cells in it, at least. So there is only room for one other cell. So the maximum other digits that could be in this is a single 1, or it's got 4 9s in it. Now, if it's got 4 9s in it, how do we achieve that? Is that achievable? And the answer is... I don't know. The answer, I definitely don't think that can be a 9 and it's achieve 4 9s in this 4x4. And let me explain that. If this is a 9, and I'm trying to achieve 4 9s in the 4x4, I'm only allowed one of these two, so I've got to connect here. So it's going to be this one. So we're going to go 9, 9, 9. That's fine. But I can't take this one because that would repeat on the diagonal. And there's no other cell I can take. So that's I can't take 4 9s if that's one of the 9s. If this is one of the 9s, then it's a bit different, I think. I could take... Well, if I do take that one, the 6 takes all of the rest of the quincunx. So, I don't know though. It's not immediately apparent to me that this is impossible. The 5 would have to dip down here, wouldn't it? So the 9 would, because the 5 must come in, and because the 6 has taken all of the quincunx, the 5 can't take the quincunx. So the 5 has to take this. So the 9 would have to do that. That's the only way it can work. And is that possible? No. Yeah, it isn't possible, but it's really complicated. The reason it doesn't work is that the moment I take this, and this is a 9, that is the shape of the 6. And that cannot be the shape of the 6 because you get 2 6s on the red diagonal. So you cannot take 4 cells in here with the 9s. So you can only take 3. And you must take 3, and therefore these are both 9s. Wow, that is absolutely vicious. That is really very hard to see, and that I may have been able to prove that logically before, but that's the first time I felt, yeah, I definitely did do it logically. So that is now a 4. I can't see where else that can get a 4 from. Now, I might now be able to prove which way round these 6s and 9s go, I think. Because if that's the 9, the only way to connect it here is straight across. And then we know that the 6 takes the rest of the quincunx and the 5 can't grow. So that is a 6. Oh, no, maybe it wasn't. It is, yeah, it has cleared the fog. I think that was logical what I said. So that's 9. The 9 can't get out like that, because then there's not enough space for the 5 and the 6. So the 9 definitely comes through that square. So the 9 doesn't come to this square. That's definitely a 5 or a 6 or a 1. I don't know which. But it definitely doesn't go there. That's definitely ruled out. I don't know. Good grief. Oh! The 5 can't go to this square because it would repeat on this diagonal. I hadn't seen that before. Okay, the 6 can't go to this square because it would repeat on the massive diagonal. So that's a 6 by my earlier logic. So these 3 are in the 6. This can't be in the 5, so that must be a 1. There's not enough space in this region for it to be anything other than 1. So this can't be a 1 and must be a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. This must be a 6 now, because otherwise there's not enough space. We can't introduce another 1 in this area. Because there's 1 more 9 cell, there's 1 more 5 cell, and there's 2 more 6 cells. So yeah, that's definitely a 6. This... I don't know. What's disambiguating this? I feel like I'm being... Oh, the 9 can't go here, of course. Sorry, because the 9 can't go into row 9. So that's got to be the final 9 cell. That's got to be a 6, and that's a 5. Okay, so it does get resolved. And apologies for being a bit dense about that. Okay, so my 6 now, I'm going to finally get rid of the shading of my quincunx, and I'm going to put in blue. There we go. 1 needs its own colour. We'll make it lime green. 9 needs its own colour. We'll make it yellow. 8 needs its own colour. Now, where do we know anything about where 8... Oh, yeah, look, 8's really... 8 could have that one. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's got to be an 8. No! I mean, yes, it was right, but it didn't clear any fog. Oh, you rotten puzzle. Oh, wait a minute. We can't repeat digits on this big diagonal, so that can't be 5 or 1 now, because we've got a 1 and a 5 on the diagonal. That's 2 or 7. This can't be 6, so that can't be 9. I don't know. Good grief. Okay, let's draw in the boundaries because... Oh, hang on. That's got to be yellow now. We haven't used purple yet, which is unforgivable, frankly. That's where we are. That's where we are. Something like that. The 8 is gradually getting larger, but we still have very much not finished it. If that was a 4... this would become an 8. Is there a reason that can't be an 8? That would be useful. Oh, if that was an 8, that would remove the 8 from this square. So that would remove 7 from this square. It's still not easy, this, is it? This, okay, let's fill in the options for this then. Because that can't be 5, 6... Well, it can't be 8, because it would bash straight into this. So it's not 5, 6, 7 or 9 either. So it's a low digit that's not a 4. It's a 1, 2 or a 3. But I don't know, actually. I'm not prepared to say which one of those it is. There might be a way to tell. Okay. This is remarkable. It's so... The logic is strange, but really sort of dense, isn't it? It's very difficult to grasp. I'm going to pencil mark this red thing now. That one can't be 2 or 3, because it would be in row 2 and it would be in column 3. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7, 8 or 9. It might not be able to be... I was going to say maybe it can't be 8, but that's... If it is 8... Or maybe if it's 9, then I think that has to be 9, 6. Oh, wait, hang on, that doesn't work. Well, I don't think that worked. I might be wrong. If that's 9, I've got to put 9 into this part of the grid. But this couldn't be a repeated 9, so this would be a 7, 8 pair on the 15 diagonal, and I'd have to put 8 and 9 into a 15 cell region. Because although a 7 could bleed out through that wall, an 8 and a 9 can't, so that is not 9. So this is 7 or 8, but does that mean this is 9, 6? If this is 9... No, it means it's not 9, 6. Because if this is 9, 6, that cell has to be a 9 or a 6, because we'd have to fill these 15 cells with the digits 9 and 6, because they can't bleed through this wall. So this is 7, 8 now, right? That's big. That is big. Because also, these two digits are different. on the diagonal, and these two digits are different on the diagonal. So these two digits are the same. Let's give them the same colour. We'll try and introduce purple. So these are either both 7, and that's 8. That looks difficult. That looks difficult, because if that's 8, where does it get its 8 from? Not sure. It might be okay. It might be okay. 1, 2. Oh. Might be okay, actually. Just. So the purples would have to join up like the, which actually 3. That's perfect. Actually, that's probably right then. So it's probably 8's there in exactly that pattern. So let's just have a look at that and see if we can see a problem with it. And so 7's here, 8's in the blue. Now, have we broken any rules if we do that? The answer is that's a 7, so it's not touching an illegal thing here. That would be a 2, because if that's a 7, you can't repeat 7 on this diagonal with the 22 on it. So if that's 7, that's 2. This would be a 1-3 pair. That looks quite nice. Oh, 3 can't. No. Oh. Oh, and I've still got to grow the 4 and the 8. I think that would have to be a 1. And maybe I might have to slot an 8 in here to stop it from breaking. And that would be a 2. That seems to hang together to me. I'm not sure we can prove it, but I think it works. So, it must be something else. And that thing is... Come on, brain. Brain, you've done the most appalling job so far. Naughty brain. Right, that corner digit up there is not 6 or 9 anymore. That is 7 or 8. These are the same, aren't they? Let's make sure we keep track of that. So this is different. We'll give that red. Oh, right. That actually is a 2, because it sees 7 and 8 on the diagonal. Sorry, I didn't see that. This square might be under pressure. Oh, no, that's actually good. So that means now the 2 can't go vertical, because if it did, it would bump into row 2. It could go horizontal. Well, it has to go horizontal, but it could go into this square. But surely this cell is now under pressure. What can that be? That cannot be 1, 2. It's 3 or 9 is what it is. It's 3. Ah, lovely. By Sudoku, it's 3 or 9, because it has to be a different digit to this diagonal. Now, if it was 9, look at where it's sort of been penned in a sort of a ziggurat or something. To bring out another unusual word. Let's see if ziggurat is in the dictionary. Z-I-G-Ziggurat. There we go. A temple tower in ancient Mesopotamia, much like a pyramid in shape. So this pyramid is penning in a 9, and that doesn't look like it's 9 cells to me, so I think that's a 3. It is a 3, and it can't go into row 3. Right, so that go... Oh, hang on, have I penned in... Oh, I've got a 5 here now, so that was correct. But what I'm slightly concerned about, let me give this a colour. Blue, is my 8 now. 4, 5, 6. That has to take those 2 squares, I think. That's lovely. That's worked. Okay, so this suggests we're on the right track. Right, now the other thing I'm now noticing, look, is this 4 region needs another cell. So we could fill that in. This... Now, oh, we can take 2 out of these 2 squares. Now, that might do something. If they are 3s... Right, that's no longer a 3. If this is a 3, how would it become a size 3? It would take this square, that's fine, but it can't go into row 3, so it would have to turn there, and we connect two 3s orthogonally, which we're not allowed to do. So that is 1 or 2. If it's 2, it obviously takes that one, and that's a 2. And we got given a 5. So if the 5... Oh, that's really clever. Right, that's really clever. Okay, this 5 hits this diagonal. And that's going to make this it's going to make this a 5. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's actually one of my favourite steps, because I've seen it and it hasn't taken me about 6 hours to see it. Right. The point is here that these two digits are different. So, let's give ourselves the task of preventing the 5 from hitting this diagonal. How can we do that, given it can only take one of those squares? Let's say it took this one. It's then penned in. It can take 4, that's fine, but it can't take this one to get a 5th, let alone the 6th. Same as the other ways around. It's symmetrical, that logic. So it does. It's going to bleed into this diagonal. And once this diagonal has a 5 on it, it can't be 1, 2, 3, 6 anymore. So we can take the 6 out. And we can also take the 3 out. And this square seems to only be able to be a 5. Now, why did I think that? It can't be a 1. Why couldn't it be a 2? I've got no idea why I've ruled 2 out. Sorry, that's probably not right then. What on earth have I done there? Oh no, it is right, because I've got... Ah, okay, look. So that's been caused by this diagonal having a 2 on it. Now, why did I take 4 out of this square? Because that's on that diagonal as well. Yeah, that's right. So my pencil marking has helped me. That is 5. So these are not 5 anymore. So does this 5 join that 5 or not? Well, this 5 can't come in to column 5, so we need to make sure it's not got any plans to do any such naughtiness like that. So it could take that square, and that square, but it still has to take that square, so that's definitely a 5. And now it's not possible that this doesn't join here, because there's no space for it to do so, given it can't take both of those, so it must take that square. And now it doesn't take this square by the diagonal there, so it's penned in a bit. And that's going to be important. Well, okay, so this 5 now comes out of this diagonal, which takes it out of there. So I've got 1, 3, and 7 left to place on the other diagonal. And 1, 2, and 4 to place on this diagonal. And very few other clues to use. I know this is not 5. Maybe I have to... It's not a desperately... I will pencil mark it just for the sake of good order. Could it be a 1? Yes, I think so. It can't be a 2, it's in row 2. If it's a 3, it's not a 3, because it would have to take this square, and that's in row 3. If it's a 4, it would have to come through that square, which, without going into row 4... That might be possible. It can't be 5. If it's 6, it can't get out. It can't be anything bigger. So it's only 1 or 4, but that's not Sudoku, so I can't use that to eliminate anything from this square. Therefore... Oh, I tell you what I haven't done, which is... no, I should... I don't really want to colour my 8s until I know which of these is 8. Then I'll do the colouring consistently with that. Ooh, it's quite hard for that to be a 3. The only way this can be a 3 is if it's exactly that shape. That might make the 8 quite difficult to place as well. Whichever of these is 8. Which I thought it was going to be that shape was the 7, didn't I? And then this would be a 1, and that would be a 7. Yes, that makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. That would be a 3. That's impossible then. Ooh, that's horrific. Goodness me. If this is an 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is no other possible shape that could be. Because if it comes any further down column 2, or anywhere else, it's going to stop these two purples connecting orthogonally. So that's the only way you can make this red one an 8. Therefore the 7, which is purple, you can see how they have to connect, and this would become a 1, this square here. But that makes this square a 3, and it can't be a 3 because how would it grow? It can't touch this 3. So it could take this square, but that's all. It could only be a size 2. I mean, that's very difficult to see. There's probably something easier than that. Let's try. So what doesn't work? It doesn't work if this is an 8. So this is going to be a 7 in the correct grid. So how else can we disprove that? Let's just go back and think about the shape again. Maybe there is a different way of proving it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe that is what we're meant to do. It is the more I think about it, the clearer it is. I have to make it that shape if this is 8 in order that I can connect the purples up. Therefore, this has to be 1. There's no choice. That has to be 7. There's no choice. That has to be 3, and there's nowhere to put it, so it just doesn't work. So this, I think, is 7. Oh. I think that did get lighter. Let's just double check. Yes, okay, good. So I think these are 8s by my colouring. That one I don't know about. This 7. No. So how does that work then? Is that still going to make things tricky? Do I know what that is even? Oh, good grief, this is so complicated. I don't know. 8. Okay. Even if these were 1 and 3, they would take 4 cells of this region. So let's say those 4. So this 8 could take that square. So it has to spill out a little bit, and it mustn't pen in the 7. I mean, if either of these is 7, is it going to cut off? Maybe that's it. Maybe that has to be 7. Because if either of these was 7, the 8 would, the 8 wouldn't have space to live in. Yeah, that's it. I can now see it. If either of these was 7, it can't be a 7 on its own like that, because the 8 hasn't got 8 spaces to live in, and this 7 certainly doesn't have enough space either to grow and get out. So the only way one of these is a 7 is if it connects to this 7, but we can't do that because then this 8 can't connect to this 8, and this 8 certainly can't become of size 8. So neither of these is a 7. This has got to therefore be a 1, I think. That should be a 3, and that 3 is forced because it can't go in to row 3. Now this is now a 7 by dint of this diagonal, and that probably has to join with this. 8 we now know is the colour purple. 4 we haven't assigned a colour to, but we should, and we will make 4 into, 4 is a bit difficult. We'll make it black. 5 we know is orange, but that's not completed. 7 we know is red. 2, have we had a 2 yet? How can I not have had a 2? I should have colours available. Have I used my colours poorly? I must have done, I feel. I should have 9 colours and 9 thingies. 3. I have 3 is blue. Let's delineate it. 1 we know is lime green. So what colour? Yellow is 9 apparently. Red, orange, black. I think I must have made... Have I used two colours for one sized... Or am I just not looking at my palette properly? Oh, this is going to really bug me. I'm sorry. 7. I've made green down here and then red up here. That's fine. Right. So red can be 2. There we go. Now, these 8s have to connect. And that would only... And then these... So this 7 has to get out. So that 7 has to come this way to get out. And now that 8 is totally penned in, and it is exactly those squares. And that... Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. That was a big reveal. And that 7's got to get out. And this might be us finishing the puzzle. I shouldn't have said that. 4, 5. But I hope it will be. We can't come into this column with the 7s, can we? So, oh no. Oh, the 2 has to grow. That's a relief. Okay, so the 2 grows. The 7 can't come into this column. So the 7 is finished in those squares. That's revealed a 2. Oh, for some reason I suddenly thought it's in column 2, but it's not. 2, the colour of 2 is red. Let's delineate these regions. Those 8s look like they've got very close to touching one another, but I don't think they have. No, they touch at a diagonal, but that's okay. So we're in this world. The 5 has been penned in. So there's a 5 in the corner today. No Christmas. It still is okay to sing. We're not at 12th night yet, so we could in theory. This can't be a 4. Because it'll repeat on the 12 diagonal when it grows, so that must be a 1. This is therefore a 2. This is therefore completed, so that must be a 1. Otherwise the 2 region has 3 cells in it. So 5, 1, 2. This has got to be 4. The 1 is of size 1, so that's very clear. That 1 is of size 1. That 2 is of size 2. And all we've got to do now is figure out how this last bit unwinds. Oh, and it's very clear because I've got 4 there and I've only got 4 cells to put it, so I think all of those become 4s. Wow, that was a very, very stiff examination. And I think I've delineated my regions properly. That's a fascinating puzzle. It's taken me a long time. Die Hard, you have... You've made a very, very cool puzzle there. I think that is very clear. I think I'm going to be interested to see from the comments whether this was as difficult as I feel it might be. I feel that's really hard. It's fascinating, start to finish, with really unusual logic that totally you cannot use Sudoku at all. And most importantly, it allowed me to say the word quincunx over and over again. And I reckon, in the history of YouTube videos, there has never been a video in which that word has been said as often as in this one. Prove me wrong. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and especially when they don't ridicule me too much. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Crypt. Oh, is it right? Yes, it is right. 34 people in 6 days. I don't know if that suggests it's difficult or not. Not sure. You guys let me know.